Sylvester. He grew up in a village where his father drove tractors and the family still went hungry. He quit school at 13 and was stealing car parts in Moscow parking lots for men who paid him in cigarettes. Sergei Ivanovich Timofeyev was born in 1955 in Klin Novgorod Oblast. No money, no connections. So he moved. He arrived in Moscow in 1975. By the mid-80s, he was running the Orikovo street crew. He merged with the Solntsevskaya Bratva to push Chechen gangs out of the capital, then broke the alliance and ran his own operation independently. He absorbed every rival crew in southern Moscow into one structure. He controlled over 30 Moscow banks. Every major market in the capital paid tribute. Interpol listed him among the most dangerous organized crime figures in Eastern Europe. They called him Sylvester, after Sylvester Stallone, because he moved like someone who had already won. He told a journalist, "I don't need the thieves' code. I make my own rules." September 13th, 1994, 7 p.m. He got into his brand new Mercedes-Benz 600 and started talking on his phone. The car exploded. The phone casing was found 11 meters from the blast. What remained was identified by one person, his private dentist, using dental records. Evsey Agron. He grew up in Leningrad during the war and learned before he was 10 that the state would not save him. By his teens, he was running card games in stairwells for kopecks. Evsey Agron was born in 1932 in Leningrad, Soviet Union. No inheritance, no future. So he emigrated. He arrived in the United States as a Soviet Jewish refugee and settled in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. Within months, he was running gambling dens and loan sharking operations inside the Russian immigrant community. He enforced debts personally, but with an electric cattle prod he carried in public without embarrassment. He ran every significant criminal operation in the Russian-speaking community of New York. The FBI identified him as the founding architect of Russian-American organized crime. Every Russian criminal who arrived in the United States came to Brighton Beach first. They all paid respects to Evsey Agron. He said, "In this country, if you don't take, someone else takes for you." Brooklyn. Early evening. He was shot in the hallway of his own building, at the elevator door before he could step inside. His own enforcer, Boris Nayfield, is believed to have ordered it. Nayfield went to work for the next boss the following week. Khoza. He grew up stateless in Kazakhstan, deported there before he was born, classified as an enemy of a country he had never seen. By his teens, he was organizing the only people who understood what that meant. Nikolai Suleimanov was born in 1955. No homeland, no rights on paper. So he organized. He arrived in Moscow in the early 1980s and built Chechen criminal networks from the ground up. His group seized control of Moscow's southern river port, the largest car market in the capital. Then his alliance did something no outside organization had ever done. They pushed the Solntsevskaya, the Lyubertsy, and the Balashika gangs. Known as Koza, Suleimanov controlled Moscow. He later returned to Chechnya personally to participate in an armed coup attempt against President Dudayev. He was wounded in street fighting in Grozny and taken into custody. He had conquered a city of 12 million and gone home to fight for a city of 400,000. He said, "We didn't come to Moscow to ask permission." December 1994. Car service station number 7, Moscow. A contract killer shot him dead. He was at his own business. He had no bodyguards that day. Golego, he grew up in Kurgan, where his parents both worked factory jobs, and the city still had nothing to offer. The only work available was digging graves at the municipal cemetery. So he took it. Andrei Kolegov was born in Kurgan, Ural region. No future, no money. So he recruited. At the cemetery, he met Oleg Nelyubin, Vitaly Ignatov, and a quiet, methodical man named Alexander Solonik. 4 men with shovels and nothing else. They organized. They moved to Moscow. They started taking contracts, first for larger organizations, then independently. The Kurganskaya OPG grew into one of the most efficient contract killing operations in Russia, built on a single asset. Solonik, Russia's most wanted hitman, a man who could walk into a crowded nightclub and walk back out. 4 gravediggers from the Urals were now running a murder empire across the largest country on earth. Kolegov was sentenced to 24 years. After 8 years, he killed himself in his cell. Oterik. He grew up in Soviet Georgia and became a master of sport and wrestling, one step from world champion level. Then a rape conviction ended his career. He served 4 years and came out with different plans. Otari Kvantrashvili was born in 1948 in Zestafoni, Georgian SSR. No Olympic gold, no coaching career. So he built another one. He constructed a criminal network through sports infrastructure, wrestling clubs, youth foundations, charitable organizations. He mediated disputes between Russian, Georgian, and Chechen criminal factions. Russian criminal law had no racketeering statutes. Prosecutors could never touch him. He controlled billions in laundered state funds and ran his own political party, the Party of Sportsmen. He employed 150 personal bodyguards. He told a government investigator on a recorded call, "I have a feeling that I attract too much attention. I'm not worth it." April 5th, 1994, 5:45 p.m., Krasnopresnensky bathhouse, Moscow. He walked out the door into the afternoon light. One bullet hit his head. Two hit his chest. He was dead before anyone understood where the shot had come from. Aksen. He grew up in Moscow as an engineer's son in a system that offered structure but no leverage. Anton Malevsky was born in 1967 in Moscow. No capital, no protected name. So he took one. By the late 1980s, he had assumed control of the Izmailovskaya OPG, one of Moscow's original criminal organizations. He moved into the asset that defined post-Soviet Russia, aluminum. The country's privatization process had stripped entire industrial sectors of ownership and left them unguarded overnight. Malevsky walked in. The Cherny brothers, and who at their peak controlled 75% of all aluminum exported from Russia to the West, operated under his roof. Known as Aksen, he ran operations across Russia, Israel, Bulgaria, and South Africa. An assassination attempt in Tel Aviv failed. He said, "I'm just a businessman. Everything I do is completely legal." In his last years, he discovered skydiving. He funded the Russian National Formation skydiving team, traveled with them to competitions, and jumped alongside them. They won gold at the 2001 World Championships. He was in the air when they landed. November 8th, 2001, Kenya. The jump was routine. His parachute entered an air pocket meters from the ground. Too late to correct, too low to survive. He hit the earth at speed. He died before the ambulance arrived. Dead Kassan. He grew up Yazidi Kurd in a Soviet Union that had already decided his people didn't exist. By his teens, he understood that a state which erases you will never protect you. Aslan Usoyan was born in 1937 in Tbilisi, Georgian SSR. No recognition, no homeland on any official map. So he built his own. He rose through Soviet prison hierarchies in the 1960s and was crowned a Vyor Vizakone, a thief in law, the highest rank in Russian organized crime. He built networks across Moscow, the Urals, Siberia, and the North Caucasus. He became keeper of the Obshchak, the emergency criminal fund that supported imprisoned criminals from Vladivostok to Kaliningrad. That position made him answerable to no one and owed by everyone. Known as Dead Kassan, he survived assassination attempts in 1998 and 2010. By the 2000s, he controlled construction contracts for the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. He was taking a percentage of every brick. He told a reporter, "We are a peaceful people. We are for peace in order to prevent lawlessness." January 16th, 2013, 2:30 p.m. Povarskaya Street, Moscow. He walked out of his regular restaurant into the cold. A sniper on the 6th floor of the building opposite fired once. The bullet hit him in the head. A waitress walking beside him was shot twice. Solonik. He trained as a soldier, studied at a police academy, was expelled for violence against suspects, and ended up digging graves for minimum wage. He decided that wasn't going to be his life. Alexander Solonik was born in 1960 in Kurgan. No career, no record worth keeping. So he killed. He joined the Kurganskaya OPG and became their primary weapon. He assassinated a thief-in-law inside a crowded nightclub surrounded by bodyguards. When police arrested him at a Moscow market, he smuggled a Glock 17 into the police station under his raincoat, shot 4 officers, and ran. He was caught only after taking a bullet to the kidney. His confirmed kill count exceeded 40. Russia's 10 most wanted list. They called him Super Killer. In 1995, a prison guard smuggled him a pistol and climbing equipment. He walked out of Matroskaya Tishina, Moscow's maximum security prison, and disappeared. He surfaced in Greece. He rented a villa outside Athens for $90,000 a year, a basketball court, golf course, garden filled with sculptures. He invited Svetlana Kotova, a former Miss Russia finalist, to join him. She arrived January 25th, 1997. He said, I'm done. I just want to live quietly. 6 days later, he was strangled inside the villa by a fellow hitman. Kotova's dismembered body was found packed into a suitcase, buried in the garden. His lawyer stated the body bore little resemblance to his former client. The fingerprints on file were fake. If you want more, subscribe.